Good evening, everybody. It is Babe and I this evening. Let me preface things before we get going too far here. For some reason, I'm having some crazy internet issues tonight, so bear with me, bear with us, as I may come and go, I guess. But don't worry, because the VOD later will be all hunky-dory and all good stuff, I think. We'll see. Anyway, how are you doing, babe?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm here. We're chugging along without Adam here to be the entertainment and the one that really holds us together, the glue.
The glue.
Yes, the glue.
Well, he just put on there, he's here in spirit.
There we go. We already got. There he is. He is right there. Yes, well, and great. Well, I wish you were in here because I don't know how to work this thing here. I'm clicking around. I don't know what I'm doing. No, but we haven't been here for a few weeks, partially because, which we'll talk about, not the past weekend, but the weekend before, I was down in Panama City, Florida, for a celebration with Sealab and stuff like that, and then just getting back and getting everything going. It took another week off, so we are here. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, babe, unless you had any news or anything you want to dive into, I figure we can hop right into it.
Let's get into it.
One thing I did want to talk to you about, I don't know if you want, did you want me cool stuff that while I'm there?
Oh, sure. I think
the poster, I think, is the best one.
It is.
So real quick to everybody out there. So I was down at the Panama City at the Man in the Sea Museum, and they had they're giving out these posters to anybody that wanted them. And so for anybody that's really into this kind of stuff, they had this. I can see it or not.
Yeah, it's showing up good.
Okay, good. So basically, it's a giant Sealab 3 poster, and it's autographed by a bunch of different people, and there's a limited 500 prints made. So I grabbed a couple of those. Then I got a couple of T-shirts for Babe. So I one as well. Even though I'll never wear it, I'll just put it in this because I don't like the material, but I'm picky like that. But stuff. It was a good time, and with that being said, I think I'm going to hop right into it. We're gonna discuss. Get up here. The Sealab 60th anniversary, and so basically what it was it's been 60 years since Sealab. Which, babe, actually, since you've done most of the stuff, you want to give a real quick recap on what Sealab was?
Oh, Sealab was the Navy's experiments. Sealab 1, 2, and 3 were the Navy's experiments for habitation in the sea. And the limitations of it, it's experiments for both physiology, as far as humans, psychology, physiology, and what was needed, what is possible. That's a huge umbrella overview, but they did that with 3 different habitats. So the first one was small, the next one they got to have a bigger one, and the third one was even the bigger, better version, but they had so many problems with it, it ended up being a failed run, and they scrubbed it in the end. They didn't do much with it, but the technology they got from it led to things as far as technologies used today for commercial diving, as well as your Navy diving and even NASA.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you for that. Thank you. You're much more eloquent about that recap than I would have been. So, but yeah, so basically it was a celebration of this. It's 60 years since the first one. So, they had all these aquanauts there who had been with 1, 2, and 3. A lot of the cast, the crew from 2 carried over to 3 as well. So they were all there. So we'll go through a couple of things. This was our brochure there that had the list of the aquanauts on there. As you can see, there are some other people there. Fabian Cousteau was there, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a second. But yeah, it was a good turnout for the dinner. That was Saturday night. I said there were about 300 people there, more or less. a lot of them were the aquanauts or designers and their families and stuff like that. That were there. Was able to talk to quite a few different people. Even sitting at my table, there was several people who had either were involved in some way or another with the Sealab programs or with other marine engineering and architecture things over decades ago. As most people in attendance were of that generation. Of course, we had great food too. I had to show off my cheesecake. I'm not a huge dessert eater, but that was a really good cheesecake. So I thought I'd show that off. But no, so there was this event here where I was unable to get up there fast enough and get a picture, but they had all the aquanauts there to getting pictures of them together. So that was a bunch of the guys. Each one of them had come up and speak at the mic. About 10 to 15 minutes, I'd say. Some of them a little shorter, some a little longer, about, their life, and stuff along those lines. And it was just a really good celebration of who these men are and what they meant to we're all trying to achieve here, which was living underwater and the risks that they took and the life they lived. As you can see here, I was sitting close to the back of the room, about 3/4 of the way back. So that's kind of what we had going on there. Some of the other notorieties that were in attendance that some of you guys may know, Lord, was it Mr. Lord from Lord's Life? He does video. He's a veteran video company that mostly focuses on Navy and ocean-based stuff like that. So I got opportunity to talk to him a little bit on day as well. But him and his wife were there shooting a bunch of stuff. There's going to be a bunch of videos coming out. He said it just takes about so for him to go through all of this stuff and get it out there. He's already seeing a little bit of stuff trickling out from his account, but I think the bigger stuff will be coming out later. I think he was shooting some stuff he said he shoots stuff for like PBS and Discovery and stuff like that from time to time too. So I think some of that may have been going with that as well. So it was really cool to see something like that there that was shooting all that. Also got the opportunity to see Fabien Cousteau, who was there. He got to speak. So he's, obviously he was there promoting Proteus, but honoring the legacy that is Sealab. Because it laid the foundation for Proteus underwater habitats to come. He talked about how his grandfather, Jacques Cousteau, was actually helped out with some of this. That he was in communications with the the crew with Sealab. I don't remember if it was one or two, but he actually was involved in some aspects of that as well, according to Fabien. So that different family legacies coming back and coming into play there as well. That was all Friday night. I got there about 5 o'clock, ended up leaving 8:30 or 9. So it was good. Did he have a commercial? What did you think of it? Like a commercial for Proteus?
That's my guess.
Yeah, so he did. He had videos and he had some stuff. Like I was telling Babe beforehand, especially while I'm getting ready to talk about some of this stuff. A lot of these people, it was confidential stuff, and that because on the screens like that it said confidential. I'm not going to talk about a lot of it. In the past we posted some Proteus stuff. The Cousteau Society, said, hey, please take that down. These type of thing, and just so that we don't get in that type of situation again, I'll say what I can, but I'm going to dodge diving too much into them and deep, which we'll talk about here in a while as well, since they were talking about stuff that has not been released to the public. I haven't seen it reported anywhere else yet, so I'm just going to shy off on that a little bit. But he did talk, and he did say, and I don't think since it's on YouTube and stuff, he said that the images that you've seen so far or more eye candy is the way he put it, that they partnered some organizations, and he would say they're working with other ones, and so it's refined some of the design, and they showed off rough designs as well of the new habitat. That's also available on YouTube. He's been talking some other, and you can see those designs in the background. So that's about all he said. Obviously they're still shooting for, I think 2026 I think is when he's shooting for Proteus. We'll see. I actually got an opportunity to talk to him for a while on Saturday, and I said, hey, here's my name, here's what we're doing. I said, the biggest thing is raising money. He's like, you and me. He goes, so I know that's a struggle for all of us out there. Is everybody with the name of Cousteau is having an issue raising money for an underwater habitat. You know how much harder it is for no names like us be doing it. The difference is obviously is the size and the scope of what he's trying to accomplish versus what we're trying to accomplish here. It's huge difference. When I talked to Oceaneering at DEMA last year, I talked about Proteus, and they felt the guy I was talking to, who actually Oceaneering was there, and I saw the same guy I talked to at DEMA. He was there. He had said, that there's no way that I think Proteus was looking at like 130 million. He's like, yeah, there's no way they can build what they're looking at for that price point. So I don't know. Now Oceaneering deals a lot with government contracts and stuff like that, which can be a little bit higher than most.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but I think that answered your question. Then moving on to Saturday, we're at the Man in the Sea Museum, and obviously you see my finger up in the corner, which I hate that because I took a bunch of pictures, and this is like the only really good one I got of which stupid. It's like some old person thing somebody does. Who puts their finger in front? It's not even a camera; it's a phone. But whatever. So anyway, they had the actual Sealab one there, which is really cool. You can go up and see it. And what was cool in the parking lot, they had a bunch of different submersibles there. They had a bunch of different habitats or different pressure vessels scattered around out there, which you could go up and take pictures of. One of the other really cool ones there was this one. I was able to get side of it, which I'm putting together as well. It's going to show off a bunch more of this stuff. So that was there. It was really cool. And then when you got inside, the museum wasn't huge. It did have a location inside of it. So once you got inside the museum, they had like a cutaway of the Sealab 3, which a little bit about there, and that poster was of as well. So you can actually see the cool layout of that. They had a room that just had like dive helmets from across the years. They had full, deep diving suits there. Just everything you can think of, when it comes to the diving community and just living and working underwater. So it was really cool to see all that kind of stuff. Like I said, like a bunch more pictures. They had this one. It's like one almost like half of the thing had these two rooms. And they had these like dioramas, and they were just like little dioramas of like scuba diving over the centuries, and it's broke up into like 400 AD and stuff like that. It's like all the way up to like modern day, and there's like just like really cool. I got a bunch of pictures of those as well. It was cool. One of those things where if you ever are down in Florida in Panama City, swing by. Small admission to get in, but they got tons of cool merchandise in there. The people in there are really cool. Where if you're interested in this type of stuff, it's something you need to go and see. I will say, when we were there, I felt sorry for her. They had a girl there that was, it was her first day on the job, and she was there. Yeah, she was there. She was cool. I mean, she was a cool girl. And she was asking questions because I was ringing her. She was ringing me up. I was having to call people over, but she had it under control. I even told her at the end of the day, I said, "Hey, you did a good job for your first day on the job," type of thing, because I'm sure it was stressful, all those people in there. But then after, one of the main reasons I stuck around for Saturday was because they did have breakout sessions, and they had two. They had Proteus with Fabian there, and so they had these small rooms where they were set up. And you could go in there and you could listen to the people speak. Unfortunately, it was pouring down rain. And with it being like a metal roof, it was just like impossible to hear unless you're sitting up close. Fortunately for Fabian, he basically reiterated what he said there, with his video and went over some more stuff. And they talked a little bit more about the purpose of Proteus and some UN mandates and all this other type of stuff. It got a little bit more technical. That's why I hate not being able to really talk about a lot of it, but it's one of those things where I'm not going to risk having to remove this video or things. Well, if I see some more of it get released out there in the public, we can talk more about it, but for right now, I'm holding off on it. Of course, like I said, I got to meet him. I look so stiff in this picture and I look like an idiot, but whatever. I got to meet Fabian Cousteau, which was like, I don't get, fanboy about too many people, and there's very few people in life I want to meet, but he was definitely on that list. So I'm glad I got to do that. I was glad I was able to do that. The other is deep. And once again, because pretty much everything they showed was unreleased information, all the pictures I took, I didn't feel comfortable throwing out here, which stinks. But they did talk definitely about their really partnerships they made as well. I think some of the cool stuff is they're saying you're going to see some interesting stuff from them within a year. They even said first quarter of next year. I'm not going to go into what they said, but there was some other stuff. They also showed off their submarines that their submersibles are designing for docking, which hasn't been released either. They showed off habitat design, the 3D printer, which they online, and how what was different. So with most 3D printers, it just prints. It's like that. I think it's like 6 of them at one time printing one thing is like works. It's crazy. I don't even know how it's a computer because it's something they're trying to print. They couldn't get to print, so they got 6 working in tandem, all printing at the same time to build something. And the first thing I thought about was 3D printing and underwater was that whole devastating thing, because that was a complaint was that was 3D printed, that submarine that imploded. That was that part of the problem, was it wasn't tested. 3D printing wasn't tested for reuse over and over again with those pressures. I said, so is that something Deep needs to concern themselves with? But they said that they actually were working with certifying companies to verify that the structures that they're building these 3D printing these out of is certified to withstand the pressures, and that's where we're going. So it sounds like they're ahead of that, and they're obviously mindful of those issues. I was joking with Babe. I know that when I reached out to them like a year ago, they said, hey, they watched our show about it, what we did. So it was like they were talking about some stuff at the event. I'm like, man, have they been listening to us again? Because it's basically they were saying exactly what we've been talking about with some of this stuff. It's like, man, those guys over there, they're stealing our thunder. But I did go up and I talked to them afterwards, and I said, hey, man, I tried to get a hold of you guys a year ago, and I know you guys were just launching. And I said, but I'd really like to get, an interview or, talk to you guys some more. So she was like really cool, and we talked quite a bit. And she said, and Oceaneering was standing there, and they were talking to him as well. And she was talking with Fabian earlier, and she said the one thing that is the reiterating thing that came across from this whole entire thing was Fabian was trying to work with Deep's trying to work with them. Oceaneering in there, all these different groups are working together to build this underwater infrastructure out there. And she said we all just need to be working together. So there's and so what that means for ASC, I don't know. I'm going to reach out to her. I just started following her on LinkedIn. It'd be great to be able to talk more with Cousteau. They all have my business cards. So they know who I am. We met face to face. They know what ASC is. We'll see where it goes. It was a good trip. I'm glad I got to do it. I was really iffy on if I to this thing just because it was a 7-hour drive. I wasn't convinced that with it at first, but then when I saw that Fabian was going to be there, Deep was going to be there, and then really I need to be at these events regardless if they hadn't even been there because of what we're trying to achieve, and being surrounded by those people that are interested in this community and in living and working underwater. I'm glad I went. I wish that you guys could have been there, especially, Babe. I know you would have enjoyed it. And then some of the everybody else out there watching, some people out there I know that would really much like to do that. And it's one of the things in the future. It'd be really nice if we could coordinate some stuff like that and all go together. And just, make it an ASC powwow type of thing at these different events. But yeah, that was pretty much the whirlwind of that 2 weekends ago was that whole event. So it was a long weekend, but really good. Met some good contacts, like I said, and we'll see what happens from it. But yeah, what you got to throw in there on that, babe?
Well, I think the I know you said her name that you're talking to that said we all need to work together. I don't know, you've been saying that from the start, so I think push, nudge, see if you can get people to see it the same way. Because I know you and Martin, I believe, have talked the same thing quite a bit.
And I was actually talking to him while I was there too. I was shooting him messages, and he was like, "Hey man, give me this and give me that." And I was like, "Well, they have what they wanted," but I was filling him on what was being said. And the woman who was there from Deep was Dawn Kernagus is her name. So she was really cool. If anybody was interested in the whole Man in the Sea thing, here's the link to that as well. I just dropped it in there. Obviously, to all people watching on X, unfortunately, the links don't come across for some reason. They just come through Facebook and Instagram, but it's maninthesea.org. I guess I can throw it into a banner here. And go check that out. That's where the museum and stuff is. They still got a bunch of stuff up about the 60th anniversary. So it's really cool.
They got all the socials too. You can always find them too.
Yeah, they've been blowing up, posting a bunch of stuff here recently just because of the event. And yeah, Dawn Kernagus. Where is she? Let me see if I can find her. Oops, that's not her. Over here on LinkedIn at the same time, trying to do two things here.
You and I were talking earlier before we started, and I was telling how tired I was after the last couple of weeks, and there it is, Dawn Kernagus.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just filled space, but I was just going to say one of the reasons I figured out I was tired is because of those classes and stuff. I did 35 dives within just a couple of weeks, and for someone as landlocked as I am, that was pretty good because it's like really hard to find diving around here.
Yeah.
And so I've been in the water a lot.
That's one of the other things. Driving down there, I drove along the coast quite a ways, and it was just like, man, like as they said in the Little Mermaid, I want to be part of that world. But instead of being the land, I want to be building underwater. I want to be living underwater. I want selfish motives, but at the same time, I just think that we are on the cusp of greatness here with all these organizations out there really talking about it. It still bothers me that, and one of the things I had more time with Fabian, I was going to say, hey, we need somebody to step up and be the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos of ocean that really champions it on and is being that figurehead. And I think he's trying to be, but I think it's just really hard. You look at even his social media, it doesn't get tons of likes and comments and stuff like that. It's just like, what are we missing? I just feel like there's something missing there. And maybe maybe the interest isn't there like I think it is, but everybody, when you talk to anybody about this out in public, you tell them what you're trying to do or what your interest is, it's like, oh, that's cool type of thing usually, or like, I'd never lived there, but they always have an opinion on it. It's like people aren't ignorant of it. They've definitely got an opinion on it. So I think the interest is out there. It's just trying to capitalize on it. With that being said, we got a few people in here tonight. Not as many as last time, even though I think a lot of that was bots last time. We have had some discussions going on in our Discord recently. I will talk about that real fast. If you're not, our Discord link is in the notes here. Otherwise, it's on our website, which is atlantaseacolony.com. We've got all of our information. But yeah, our Discord we've been talking in there recently a little bit about underwater greenhouses and that sort of stuff. There's always different types of conversation in there. There's different people in there that will always talk your ear off. If you want to hop into our Discord, that's a good place. It's a VIP place where you're not going to get all the other information from like Facebook and stuff along those lines. It's dedicated to just working and living underwater. And that's the whole purpose of our Discord, is to give that place. It's almost like our pseudo think tank per se, where we're able to pick people's brains, but at the same time give people the opportunity to talk about it. So that was
all aspects of it.
Yeah, and that was an Adam move. And honestly, a lot of the things that we've implemented over the years have been because of conversations. Adam and me just sitting down talking and brainstorming about stuff have changed different design things, different social media things. So it's one of the things where I look for these conversations, and I want people to be like, hey, that's stupid, don't do that, or whatever. And that's where Discord is a great opportunity for that. That being said, if you're wanting a more VIP aspect, we do have Patreon. That's where, for a minimum of as low as $5 a month, you can be vested into what ASC is doing. We're still looking at different ways that we've talked about, giving back to you guys that are helping us. Babe gets the benefit because he gets some cool merch from the Sealab celebration. But it's also stuff like that. So, but if you're interested in living and working underwater, and if that's a passion of yours, and you want to partner with an organization or a group that's doing it, obviously we'd love you to do it with us, and that's what Patreon is kind of there. Is you can help us. Right now, it pays for just day-to-day operation things. The software that we're live streaming on right now, it's different stuff along those lines, marketing, different things like that. So I am a very frugal person. I don't like to spend money unless I absolutely have to. So there is that. But we do have several patrons, Babe being one of them, Brian Acosta, who was actually in last week, last time we were on here, which he almost never hops in, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, Babe, Adam, and then my dad. So Mr. Ron Traxler there. So they're all patrons. Some of them have been with us for quite a while. And yes, we appreciate you guys because you're able to help us do things we probably wouldn't be able to do otherwise. What else? I think it's pretty much about, I said, definitely check out the website. That's the central place. Facebook is another great area that we get a lot of conversations going on. But if Facebook isn't your thing, maybe you prefer X, maybe you prefer LinkedIn. I have a lot of conversations going on there too. So we have these different areas where we're on that. TikTok, even this video will get torn down into a bunch of different shorts for TikTok or for Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. So we're always doing that kind of stuff too. You're comfortable with, or that you use a lot, because that we're probably there already, and we would love to have you there. With that being said, Babe, you got anything?
I don't.
Okay. Babe's tired.
Yeah.
I just saw him checking his watch there a second ago.
Oh, I got a message.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Time. But no, once again, I wanted this to be a short one tonight. I just wanted to get with everybody, let them know what this event that I was able to go to, what it is. If you're interested in underwater habitats, Sealab is one. All the Cousteau and the Conshelf program, one of my favorites. TechTite is another cool one. I really like the designs on. Sealab is a foundational one, especially for the U.S. Navy and for America. So there's all these different underwater habitats that have been around. And then today we have Aquarius. And actually, Fabian and me were actually talked about Aquarius, how, hey, it's on its last leg type of thing. And then you have, Fabian and me have been fortunate enough to go to, and we need to go back again. But today, we just need to do a week there next time.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that means. But yes, there is opportunities out there that need to be filled by underwater habitats. ASC is obviously working towards that, and that is our goal, is to design, build, and sell, and provide underwater habitats for either work or for personal things, whether you want your own Airbnb underwater, you want your own private or you want underwater greenhouse, data center, or whatever she is focused on, is to form that we can everybody can live and work underwater. So if that interests you, this is my ploy to hit us up, talk with me in the group, join our Patreon, join our Discord. But thank you for joining us tonight or watching, whether it's on the podcast, whether it's wherever you consume video information or audio information. Thank you very much.
I want to say something real fast.
Go for it.
Because you talked about, events. And then, it's basically, there's underwater intervention, there's DEMA. Those are coming up again this year.
Oh, yes, right. Soon, too.
Yeah. Because I know Europe just had 2 of theirs. Because I think there was one in England area, then one Germany, somewhere like that. I can't remember. I know I've read them, but that's been long enough ago now. I had too many things going on.
Yeah.
It just now popped in my head. So, there's events and not just because you're interested, but to show all the aspects of it too.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, and especially like underwater intervention, I've made a habit of being at all the recent ones of those. DEMA was good. It's definitely much more for the dive community versus, what we're trying to work on. Whereas underwater intervention is just more blue collar. It's more industrial. It kind of fits more our type of thing. So if I can be there, I'm going to be there. Maybe I'll run into some of you there. If not, let's talk. Maybe we can meet up somewhere. Let's have an ASC meetup. But yeah, thank you, Babe, for coming on tonight. Thank you for co-hosting with me this evening. We hope that you all have a great rest of your week. And thank you for joining us again. And have a good night.